Yo, this episode is brought to you by McCoy's Fine Cigars.
Located downtown Houston, Texas on 900 Capitol Street.
Be sure to check out McCoy's for all your tobacco and cigar needs.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Christina, and this is Krystal, and we are with the LNE Show podcast, and we have joined up with Sugar Honey Iced Tea pod. Okay.
I like it.
Everything will be linked down below, but we just decided to come together and collaborate on a few topics. One topic that we were going to talk about is why do men internalize their emotions? We talked about this a million times, me and Krystal, and we have our ideas, but of course it's better to have it from a man's perspective. So we're going to go ahead and start. Why do y'all internalize and hold in emotions?
What was your answers?
Yeah, I need to know.
What do y'all think?
So we started back from childhood being raised, the father telling you not to cry, just social constructs around us that force men to be this alpha all the time, and you're not able to really express yourself when you don't have the correct people around you. So if you don't have a wife or your parents aren't there or you just don't have that person you can confide in, society kind of makes y'all less of a man if you do show emotion. So
Makes sense. I personally,
Hold on. Before you even jump in, so we're new to the LNE Show.
right?
yes.
We the Oh Shit Pod. I'm Jay Jones.
It's your boy Bowler.
It's KB.
All right, so go ahead.
All right, so I can see where you're coming from because I know I tell my son not to cry. Like if something happens to him, I tell him don't cry. And I don't think it's more of a you got to do that because you got to be a man. It's more of a that's not worth crying for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this certain situation doesn't demand a cry. My wife will step in and say, "Hey, let him cry. If he has this emotion, let him have it. Let him do it." And I'm more of a why, like because I know I probably wouldn't cry in this situation. So I understand where you're coming from, but it's more of the situation, not because I want you to be a man and not cry. Because I think if you're a man, if something happens, the emotion is to cry is there. That's me. So I don't know how these guys feel about it.
I mean, I feel everything Christina said about, how you were raised and whatnot. I also think that society plays a major part in it from the point of you're seen as this weak person if you cry or show emotion in front of a woman because of the way social media has constructed it. Like, oh, you a punk, if you crying, like you ain't no man, like, so that like kind of like ties into a male's ego. Nobody wants that ego to be damaged. Like they say, pride comes before the fall. So I think a lot of that comes into play with why people gonna show emotions. And another major point is that a lot of men that I've talked to is like, if you do show your emotions, it could be weaponized against you.
They got one up on you.
Yeah, like you show your emotion, and then the next time something happens or an argument, they pull out your
That's
weak.
why you cried.
Yeah.
You cry, baby.
So it's like, damn, like I tried to be emotional with you and share this, and you turn around and use it as a weapon. Like, now I see why I build that wall up. So like certain things like that will have males having that wall of protection of guarding their emotions. What you got?
I don't know. I'm a little different. So one, I'm already kind of a emotional person. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of stuff based on how I feel, like how did that make me feel? So when it comes to showing my emotions, if my emotions have gotten to that point, they just gonna come out. Like I can try to hide as much as I can, but you gonna see the leakage because I'm just that kind of person. When it comes to my kids, I have 2 daughters. And honestly, that's a cool topic because me and my wife just had this conversation because that was one thing, like Bola said, like, stop crying. Like, and it's just a natural reaction sometimes, like stop crying. But my wife and my mom, like my mom just randomly hit me up one day on FaceTime, and she had been reading some stuff, and she was like, instead of saying stop crying, ask her why she's crying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it kind of turned how I communicate with my daughters differently, because there's a reason why you're
Right.
crying. What is it? Let's figure it out, rather than just saying.
And that actually stops them from crying.
You know what I'm saying?
Like my son will
Instead of
stop.
just halting your emotions and telling you don't have a, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop crying.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you might be feeling some type of way. Which way are you feeling? Let's address it. Let's talk about it. And then let's go from there. So with me trying to now implement that into how I care for my daughters is it just makes me feel a little bit better about how I want to do stuff. You still have to deal with the situations where it's like, bro, what you are in your feelings for, you know what I'm saying? You got to deal with that when it comes to the fellas and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, and this is just me, like, at the end of the day, you got to deal with what's in front of you and what's in your household. Like, all the outside chatter, it might make you feel a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, you got to hold down your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if I get emotional here and there, so be it. But it's a tough spot to be in as a man. Like, you really don't want to show too much. You don't want to put all your stuff out there, but at the same time, sometimes when you do, you get that healing that you need from somebody who might be able to address those feelings or speak to that stuff. And it's like, hey man, I know you're dealing with certain things or this situation. I dealt with something like that. But when you internalize all that stuff and you just keep it, it's like you just the one dealing with it all the time. You know,
it's gonna come out eventually.
Yeah, and it's gonna eventually come out. So sometimes it's easier to just put your stuff on the table, because somebody might be there to help you. It might not be your significant other. It might be that one person that, you know, had that issue, and this is what they did. But it's so hard for us guys to just let some of those feelings go, because you want to always feel like you on top of the situation. You got it handled.
Control.
You know what I'm saying? You got everything in control, and it don't be like that.
Question for you ladies. So I know you're asking the question about, you know, the emotion. Are you guys dating or married?
I'm married, yes.
Okay.
Dating.
Okay. Let's bring it back to dating. So if you were with a guy that's super emotional, would that make you think differently about his manhood? Like, he was just super emotional about everything. Like,
If it's with me, I wouldn't. Now, if we're in public, like we're in this situation and something happens and he stubs his toe and he just busts out crying,
He stubs his toe.
that's something different. But
I got an ouchie boo-boo.
I got an owie.
But when you're
Hold
with
on,
me,
brother.
like, I expect you to be vulnerable. That's part of that growing phase and that getting to know that person phase. If you're always hard and I'm always just giving myself, no woman wants to give 100%, and you kind of still got your wall up and you don't share your secrets and stuff like
Right.
that. So it is a back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. That vulnerability helps you learn like who they are, and it's like whatever it is you're dealing with, maybe I'm not the person to help you, but maybe we can find somebody that can.
Okay.
Counseling, whatever it is, but like having your guard up is the easiest way to like push people away.
True. Right.
Whether that be significant other, your kids, family. So yeah, long as you, like she said, you're not out in the middle of the street
Just crying.
breaking down, crying all the
In the
time.
fetal position.
Now, let me ask you this though. So with the dating aspect, when do you feel like is a good time to let your guard down? Because at the same time, you still don't know this person. Like, you could be dating someone that could use that against you, versus like that being the right person that's there for you to help you get through whatever you're dealing with.
That's a great question. For me, I don't know that there is a time. Like, you can't put it on a calendar or a clock. It's just something you have to feel. And it's like prayer, number one.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're talking to God about who you dating and is this person for me, before you just jump into it. Because for women, a lot of times we take our guards down too fast and become vulnerable too fast.
Yeah.
And then you end up getting yourself caught up and getting yourself hurt by somebody that's not there for you. But yeah, prayer is the number one defense, and listening. And we always push it on our podcast. Hold your mule. Those soul ties, getting connected too fast, will hinder your ability to see who that person really is. So, and that's
Blinded
what
by
I take
love.
with dating. Yeah, not love, blinded by
Lust.
lust.
Yeah.
That lust is a mother.
Yeah. So we kind of touched on the aspect of the child. What about as a grown man? So statistics are out there about men when they are in a relationship and something has went wrong, like the girl's cheated or she wants to leave. It's mostly the men that will commit a violent act towards a woman, kill her, then kill themselves, whatever, because they're just in such a rage. So if you're 25 and older, or you're just this older guy and you have all this pent up emotion, what are some ways that you guys can kind of be okay to let that out? Because, I have worked for the police department before, and normally it's those calls with those men and they just can't handle it. They get into this fit and they end up hurting people. Yeah. So how do y'all not hold that in and then just explode when y'all ready to let it out?
How do you do that, Jones?
Honestly, like on our podcast, I just tell people your best bet is to get a counselor. You know what I'm saying? Someone that you can talk your feelings out, because the worst case for a man to do is sit back and have all this emotion pent up, and once you're at that breaking point, you don't know what you're capable of doing. So I just say, it's cool to talk to your friends, it's cool to talk to your parents, whatever, but you need that person that you can talk to, get everything out on the table, and they could give you viable answers for help with whatever you're going through. Because we see it too much on the news of family violence, domestic violence, where a man is told that his wife or girlfriend wants to leave him, and then he goes and tries to kill her and then kill himself. The kids. It's
so
just crazy. Like, I can't fathom it, because I love my kids and my wife too much for me to even go to that point. But it's happening, so I know it's out there. But I just say, like, yo, get help. Like, you really need to. And I tell people all the time, like I tell these guys, if you go to the doctor and you're sick, right? You look for the doctor to cure you. If you feel like you're having a mental breakdown or mental problems, why not go to a therapist or a psychologist to help get that fixed? It's the same realm of things. So that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think that holding in emotions is something that's more difficult for men of color?
Definitely.
Why?
Society. We've had this long stigma of, like, nobody cares about you. Keep your stuff to yourself. And if you do tell someone, they're probably just gonna go run and tell somebody else and laugh about it.
I think I think we've been brought up to put on a mask that everything's okay all the time, as is not just black men. I think black people in general, that everything has to be okay. If we go to work, you could have seen another person get killed, but you got to go to work and like nothing happened, right? They won't even talk about it at work. And you have to hold that kind of stuff in. So I think, like Jones said, society has made it to where it's like
we don't have that luxury.
We don't have the luxury of being a victim anymore. You just have to. It's everyday life now. So I think that plays a big part in like how we let things out. Because for a long time, like you cannot not be angry at this time, right? But I got to go to work every day like nothing happened. Smile.
Damn. Yeah. You talking about like during these times that we're in right now?
Even
before
growing up, it's like you always had to. You started in the workplace. You might not have had a good day. Bill could have been having a bad day. Bill can come with attitude. You come with attitude. You're looked at different.
Yeah, those are facts, and I hate that it's like that, but it's crazy because we've grown accustomed to having especially in the workplace. That's probably the biggest place to where you really have to shield how you feel about pretty much life.
Right.
If you're not working in a predominantly black establishment,
if you're not working for yourself, period,
or you know what I'm saying, then you have to do this because the lunch conversations, the side talk when you're getting coffee, the comments. It's like you really have to stay within yourself, because at the end of the day, you're at this job to be able to provide for your family. If you're a guy, you know what I'm saying? Like it's so many different factors.
It's with women too. Like y'all
women
can't
too.
get excited for a raise. If y'all get a little too loud, oh, there she go being too loud again.
Yeah,
It's different. Like I don't understand. I would never understand it.
Yeah. So in the workplace, that's just what it is. But I think for a guy, that just helps in our keeping and shielding our emotions, because that's 8-9 hours of your day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So them extra 3 hours at the crib, it's easy to just not speak on stuff. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I haven't got to the point to where I felt like I needed to go get counseling, like for myself, because I am that person that I'll sit down. We gonna be talking. Like I let all this stuff out to my wife and just like put it all out there on how I'm feeling. But everybody not able to do that, regardless of if it's work, if it's outside relationships, like whatever that may be. Like some people just rather just keep that stuff. I'd rather not burden you with my issues.
Right.
And that, that's not a bad thing, but that's just where I think we are as guys, to where it's like, I can handle this on my own. I don't feel like putting all this on your plate. Let me deal with it.
Yeah.
But then that stuff builds up, and you start reacting, and you start, you start making moves based on how you feel, and you've never even addressed the issues that
The root cause.
you know what I'm saying, and you now might be offending, hurting somebody else because how you're feeling and how you're seeing that situation, and it could be all jacked up.
That affects a lot of relationships as well. Like stuff that you're feeling at home, at work or whatever in life, and then you're internalizing that, and then it's affecting the way you feel at home, which you might not even notice it, but your significant other feels it, and that just causes another issue. So yeah, it's crazy, honestly.
And
It is.
It's
one
just a
thing
tough
y'all
spot
talk
to
about,
be
like
in.
you saying it's starting early as well. One of my earliest memories of not being able to have your emotion is like even playing youth sports. Like, I mean, I remember playing football one time and got knocked silly, and like you wanted to cry so bad, but first thing your coach gonna tell you, don't cry, be a man. So it, like you said, it does start early, like, and I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I just think it's because they were taught this. Their
It's
dad
just
taught them that. It
it's
keeps
a
going. It
cycle.
keeps going. So it is something you got to be really conscious about, especially raising
But
kids.
you brought up a point that made me want to ask you ladies a question. So, talking about emotions and workplace, how is it that you ladies feel about having to mask your emotions with the stigma of, if you come out of character, quote unquote, to say, you becoming that angry black woman?
or loud.
Ghetto.
Loud.
Yeah. There
Oh,
she
she got
go.
a rate.
Hood.
There she go.
She
There she go
hood.
doing what she
There
do.
she go.
There she- Like I don't like that at all.
You can go.
That is so. I have been fortunate at my current workplace to be able to build a team around me where everybody's like, that's just kind of who you are.
Mhm.
Now, do I let full Krystal out all the time? No, but it just depends. I've been in places to where I literally just go in the bathroom and just scream and cry because I'm like, if I do this in front of people, they're gonna think I'm crazy. So it's just like the code switch. It's just like 1 minute I'm like, hey girl, what's up? Good morning, girl. You cute. I like that new weave. Yes. And then it's just like, hey, good morning. I ran the data. I got the numbers. It's like you just turn into different people to fit what they.
That's crazy.
What
we
they
got to do
want.
that.
Yeah.
We got
Sidebar. Doesn't it feel good? Because I've done that before, where I've literally walked out of the office, went down the elevator, went to the parking garage, unlocked my door, sat in my car, and just yelled out
So
y'all, I was just so pinned, so
y'all more
much
professional
pinned
than
up
I am.
emotion.
So I'm letting that thing out where I'm at. They catching it.
See, nah.
They catching it.
And I mean a stern, crisp, fast walk to the car too. Just set to the
Can't
wheel.
put no dip in it yet.
Man.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. We definitely have to put on different coats depending on who we're around. And I feel like, unfortunately, we're the only race that has to do that, that has to kind of make everybody
Facts.
else feel comfortable to let you know that I'm okay. Because there's all these stereotypes that are against us and we're battling them all the time. So
All the
when
time.
we're meeting different people, it's like, hey, I'm not ghetto girl. I ain't got 6 babies, 7 different daddies. Then, that type of mentality, you always have to like make people comfortable. But yeah, before we move on to the next topic, I did want to speak to your ladies. Ladies, if you're with a significant other, married, spouse, you have to make sure that you are letting them express themselves. They are more sensitive than we are, believe it or not. If you make a comment about their haircut and you don't want them to make a comment about your weave or something, they're gonna feel that. I guarantee you, go home and say something. Oh, your hairline look
My
a little
fade ain't
jacked.
faded.
I guarantee you tomorrow he will have it fixed because they have emotions just like us. So you really need to make sure that you're not roaring him, making him feel bad. Just be there to support and, give him compliments as well. You don't ever want to put him down and, you expect him to lift you up all the time. You need to lift him up as well.
Yeah,
So-
real quick, just
Church.
to add on to that, I think sometimes people are just like, if I gas him up too much, he gonna think he all that and he gonna be in the streets. It's like, well, sis, if you don't gas him, he gonna find somebody that do gas him.
Yeah.
So gas him up.
And to speak on what you just said on that one,
What happened?
sis, if he gonna be in the streets, he gonna do him. He was never yours. Just
There you go.
let it be.
So,
And that goes for fellas too.
Yeah, okay.
If she out there,
Speak that
she was
down.
never yours. She just gonna go. So don't feel like if I do this, he or she might feel that way. Like, yo, if they're with you for you, gas them up and show that love.
That's probably the worst thing a lady can do to us fellas, especially getting closer to 40, is look at your haircut sideways. Like
My
he cut you a little different. Like, oh, hold on, baby.
I cut it off. Man. You talking about my fit? We gonna have an issue. You talking about my fit? Okay, now we have problems.
Now you wear a hat the rest of the week.
I wear a hat. I ain't tripping.
So the next topic we kind of wanted to talk about was the new generation versus the old generation, the past generation.
Now, when we talk about generation,
You talking about our dads versus us, or us versus 25-year-olds? Now,
Oh no, not that generation.
Okay.
Not the what is that, Gen X?
Yeah,
No, that's
I'm like-
us versus our parents.
oh, baby
Okay.
boomers.
So,
Okay.
one thing that kind of stuck out to me was how it's not that different. So we think that, social media and women being loose and, men cheating and all these things that come, with relationships and stuff is something new. And our parents or grandparents, mother sitting in the church in the back of the pew, she ain't never done nothing wrong, but you actually go in and talk to them. She got
was
like
twerking at the juke
yeah,
joint.
4 or 5 different baby daddies. You find out grandma don't know her father, so you're just like, well, dang, what was y'all doing?
Right.
What was y'all doing back then? And why ain't y'all tell us
Right.
so we can kind of fix it and mitigate it? One of the things is nobody wants to talk. And so just wanted to know from a guy's perspective, do y'all see that as well?
Man. First of all, you don't even have to you don't even have to ask your folks. Like, as much as they talk about our music, their music is just as bad.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just more so
Me and
hidden.
Mrs. Jones.
Just listen to, like, I'm from the country. So we used to have all these soulful tracks, and it was this one song that caught my attention. And it was called Stand Up In It. And the chorus is, you ain't did a doggone thing until you stand up in it. And I was like, whoa.
And they are too.
And they two-step in the group. And I said, wait a minute. He said, so I sat down and I really listened to the song. He's like, I want to put it in my pipe and smoke it. I want to stick it. I said, okay. Miss Myrtle, you getting it too.
Washington nurse.
Yeah, so
in Washington.
that right there just like was like, all right, y'all ain't as clean as y'all claim y'all were. But then, like you said, man, it was a lot of cheating going on. And with us, it's more prevalent to see because of social media and everything is just out now. But back then, like, you could have had Mr. Tyrone and he had his family, but next door with Miss Washington, he had a baby.
Washington.
He had a baby with her, and they just kept it a secret.
Yeah.
And like, so
Going to get the mail, baby.
Yeah, me and that mailbox side.
So like, it's
Put 2
definitely
stamps on it.
definitely worse. And I don't think we talk about it enough as far as like, I know a lot of like our parents at their age group, a lot of the women those days really like took their lumps and rolled with it. Like nowadays people cheat, they leave and move on, or you sometimes get back together. But for them back then, a lot of them were keeping the family together.
We had to, not we, but they
Yeah,
didn't have
it wasn't.
the job.
No option. So I think that plays a vital part where like the progression of the woman today and being able to be independent. They don't need.
Yeah.
I can leave. Like I don't need your minimum wage working at the factory money to come home make the cornbread. Like I can go do that on my own. So I think that changed.
You so country though.
That cornbread. But yeah, and man, it was bad back then because I've just heard stories like and the stories would come out now. Like, yeah, such and such. Yeah, he just found out that wasn't his mama.
Wait, what?
And how old is he?
His mom.
How old is he? That wasn't his mom. So who was his mom? Well, such and such was acting. Is he all right?
That's Miss Gladys, baby.
So like, it's.
Oh man.
I don't know. It's like, which is worse? It's like finding out now, like as in this age group, is like, yo, that ain't my dad or that ain't my mom, versus the older group coming out years later. So I mean,
But it's just
both
everything.
generations are effed up, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just everything, because if you ask an adult now, like the older people, they swear, like you said, our music is just they cannot believe it. But like you said, like y'all was still getting the same messages back then, and y'all was just grooving to them and dancing to them. Like,
One
go
no
back.
808s on
Like
that.
you said, Mrs. Jones.
That's it.
Mrs.
I was
Jones.
like, at first, I was like, man, I'm gonna use that song for my wedding. And they was like,
What?
No.
They was like, have you listened to that? I was like, what you mean? That's like, just go back and
Mrs.
listen to
Jones.
it. So I'm listening to it. I got a thing. I was like, oh, this is
You ain't trying to walk down like that.
And then what's the they literally just posted what's the dude with the glasses and the afro where he said he wished his best friend didn't trust him so much?
Yeah.
Oh,
I put in the group that song.
Yeah, like have y'all heard that? What is the guy's name? He passed away, but he's an old school singer, and he sung about like
Got a video
his
and everything.
best friend and his wife was like close. And whenever he would go out of town, his best friend go out of town, him and his wife would have like a thing, and he was like, "I just wish my friend didn't trust me so much."
Oh wow.
I was like, "This what y'all was singing about back then?" Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, we just more straight. We're straight to the point now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
ain't no hiding.
it ain't no hiding. Yeah, and it's, yeah,
I want
it's
you
like-
and your friend.
Yeah,
your wife.
it's just out in the open. But
Yes.
at the same time, the message was still there, and I just think that generation to generation, like I'm nervous as I'll get out for what my daughter gonna be hearing when she comes. Of, you know what I'm saying? When she 12, 13 years old. So it's like, who knows? But you can see with time, everything's just gotten a lot bolder, a lot like more. It's just in your face and out there. So I can't see it even getting even more aggressive than what it
Imagine
is
I can't.
if
now.
your grandparents or your parents had Facebook and Instagram back then. Like
Oh.
it'd be the same
Lord,
thing.
It would be.
It'd be exactly the same thing.
And they still
Oh,
own it.
shit.
That's the crazy part. Like they act like they don't understand, but older folks have taken over Facebook.
They have. That's why
Older folks,
I just get on there to speak.
older folks be on Facebook more than the younger gen. I guarantee if they ran the numbers, them old folks, they don't miss nothing on the
I
Facebook.
I literally got on Facebook.
The
And
Facebooks.
they have this 5 different pose challenge going on, and I've been seeing Gladys and Ethel and all of them doing the poses. And I'm like, all right, something log off.
Yeah,
I can't.
50-some years, 60
can't.
years old with the bathroom selfies. Like, come on.
But you know what
granny.
scares me though? Like right now, like you said, what does it look like for our daughters
Nah.
going forward? Like, if we're at the point where we're talking about WAP, what's next?
Watermelon and passion margarita, TSP.
One thing you guys mentioned earlier, you were just like, back in the day, you know, women had to stay because there was like no other means. So like fast forward present day, women are like working, taking care of their own things. Do you think it makes men treat women differently?
Nah,
Better.
man,
No.
man's gonna be a man.
Well, I'll say this, and I might get in trouble for it, but men have this ego where they also know that, yeah, the woman can leave, but women also are very in tune with their emotions for love. And sometimes they will sacrifice doing what's right for that person being in their life. And I think a lot of guys take that for granted and take advantage of that. So I see that as one of the reasons, because like you said, if you have everything you need and you really don't need that other person to for your life to be sustainable, what are you staying for? Is it love? Is it you want that person? You're scared to be alone? I don't know. But when you look at it and lay all the facts on the table, it's like, all right, you got money, you got a job, you're stable. He's out here doing this and that. You could leave and do your own thing and be happy and safe, but you choose to stay. Why?
Yeah.
He said a man is going to be a man. What does that mean?
If it's in them, it's in them. Like, there's you having a nice job and having your own, that's not gonna change who that person is. Love could change it. Hopefully it can change, but if you see any of that in him,
I think it's, at the end of the day, I think it's just ego. Men have a big ego. And so regardless, they might miss what they didn't just let go, but they always feel like, or we always feel like, or I always feel like, okay, man, shoot, if this don't work out,
so
I know I can, you know what I'm saying? I know I can bounce back. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
crazy.
It's a crazy way to think, but, and I don't want to put that on every man, but I just think that it's in them, that ego part, to where
It is true though.
at the end of the day, like, I would hate, even if you really like love your situation, like if this fell apart, I think I could make it. I would bounce back. Like,
When
as
you
far
say
as it
bounce
comes,
back,
like
you mean
with
get another woman.
I
Later,
could get another
right?
woman.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm
But
saying? That's what I mean. You might not have the same
same woman.
situation, like your situation, because I think men really, they love their partners, but they also love their situations. Like, you love being in a relationship to where you can come home. That's not bad. You
we got waiting for
because think about this: single fellas, when they want to get in a relationship, they yearn for having that consistency, having somebody that's home, somebody they can come home and talk to. It's not this person, that person. You have some consistency in your life. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like you have a stable situation. That's what I'm referring to. So you have somebody that's home when you get to the crib. You can let your emotions out with that person. You can, your lady gonna probably cook a meal for you, all that stuff. When you single, shoot, it could be up in the air. Like, it's not there. This night it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think you just get in love with your partner, but at the same time, you think some of this stuff can be replaceable. Like, I can go find me another woman. She might not be
the ego part. Yeah,
she might not be that lady that's doing all this stuff for me like this, but when it comes to just like we say, you fall in love with the appearance first. Like, you think you can go get somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So
like you were saying,
we gonna see.
Especially with like the generation, I think like if Jimmy was cheating in 1965, I think Jimmy would still be cheating in 2020. So I don't think just because now the women have moved on and have jobs now, I think that man is going to be that man back then and that he is going to be now.
Well, I agree, but I disagree. So
You
that's
can
why
grow.
I really believe that men, first of all, women, you should find a man of faith, because if a man is not held accountable to a higher standard, not to me, not to another woman, but to a higher standard, that's a dangerous man.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at consequences the same. He doesn't think that what he's doing is wrong. And so that's a dangerous man to be around. So you always want to make sure that his faith, first of all, is solid. And then two, when you get in a marriage, it's not just, oh, we just gonna sit here, play house, husband, wife, kids type thing. You have to build something together. You have to invest in each other.
Definitely.
So then it's not easy to leave. Like, yeah, like I get what you did or whatever, but we got too much invested.
You losing a lot.
You're losing too much. And so that's why it's important when we talk about marriage, it's not just this long-term relationship or goals or pictures or things like that. You are investing, putting in money, putting in time, putting in thoughts, efforts. You're just, kids, of course, just investing a lot so that it is harder to leave. Like in the Bible, you do become one.
Mm-hmm.
You leave your mom, you leave your dad. Half the time you're with this person, for 40, 50 years. If that person die, you normally go right after them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all do become one. Y'all do become this one being moving together. So to say that you could just up and leave and I'm gonna go find somebody else. It's like, okay, well, good luck with that.
Right.
That's the ego part, right?
That's the ego.
That's the ego part.
And a lot
That's
of
what
times,
you think.
Yeah.
and a lot of times it don't even
in
work
the back
like
of your
that.
head.
20%.
A lot of times it don't even work like that. You up and leave, and then you be out here.
You miserable.
You're out here trying to replace what you had. And I just be like, yo, like you had that. But another thing I want to make a point on is that also a lot of times women have the key to controlling the relationship because men feed off what a woman allows. So like when the relationship starts and if there's no boundary set and the dude know, I
go out whenever I want to.
I can go out whenever I
Like
want to. If she ain't
kids.
tripping, I'm gonna do like dudes know how far they can get away with stuff.
Right.
And if a woman doesn't set that boundary, then from the jump, and you trying to set it months down the line,
It's too late.
Now you can set it
Yes.
months down the line.
you can, but then again, he might jump. He might be like, "I'm out." It's like this ain't. But like, if you let it known, like from the jump, like this is.
But that's kind of hard.
It is.
If you're in a new relationship, tell somebody you don't like them going out and you like them doing this.
Well, what about like in the media now? So I think it was two situations. Kanye said something about Kim, about her dressing a certain way. He didn't like it. And it was another person, and she's like normally flamboyant and very sexualized. And then the husband all of a sudden, I don't like you dressing like that. Like, that's how you met her.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff.
I think that happened with like Offset. He
That
was
stuff
mad
irks
about
me.
the song, about
Oh, Cardi
the
B.
WAP
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like that's who
It's
she
like
is.
she been
Yeah.
like
So
that.
how do you all
that
of a
kind of
sudden-
stuff. That kind of stuff irks me. Like if you find you find your lady like this, right?
And you amp it up.
And you amp it up. Then all of a sudden you say, I
And
don't
you
like,
make money
you
off
make
of
money.
it.
I don't like the way you dress, but you like the way.
This is what's bringing
that's
home the bacon.
Well, but that's how we met. Forget the money.
Yeah.
Regardless of the money, that's how we met. You like the way I dressed. You were attracted to me, and that. So who am I to tell you? Nah, don't wear that anymore. Like that sounds so. It sounds so silly to me.
But it can go both ways. Like, and it don't always have to be about dressing. It's just about maybe what you doing, period. Like,
You met me going out a lot. Now
yeah.
you only going
Yeah,
out.
like we met in the club. Let's say we met in the club. And I always saw you, but I finally got the nerve to say something to you.
2 shots in.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I finally said something to you. Now we get together, we see us, and now it's like, oh no, you ain't going to the club. But that's what we met. We was having
Right.
fun. Like, I like going just because I like, you saw me with my girls. I'm going with my girls. And maybe now it's the issue,
Yeah.
but it can go vice versa because it can go tick for tack because any situation we would say, like for the ladies, they can bounce it right back to us. You know what I'm saying? So it's, eek. I'll let y'all finish on that. I don't know.
So you any pushback? What you
No,
think?
I agree with the boundary setting.
Okay.
And I think like spinning it back to like older generations. I don't know that our parents or moms or whoever set boundaries.
I don't think so either. I
don't
mean,
know.
honestly, like, but then
know.
again, with that time, what boundary could you set with the breadwinner?
You couldn't.
Don't go to Miss Jones' house.
No, because you
Alright,
get beat.
well,
A lot of our elderly women took a lot of butt whoopings.
Yeah, they
a lot of unnecessary butt whoopings. There was a lot of molestation,
I mean,
a lot
Ike
of stuff
and Tina.
going on. And so, one of the things with the new generation versus the old generation that y'all kind of said with your daughters, I feel that you have to talk to them. You have to communicate with them, because I feel if they would have said something to us, like, hey, me and Mrs. Jones, or was that sweet thing, these songs, talk to us about it. Don't sit in church and act like you're just this holy person and you're perfect and you don't want me to have sex before marriage. Tell me why you don't want me to do this. Explain to me. You need to talk. And so I think that's very important for us to instill in our kids. Now, granted, yes, social media is out there. My son asked me for a Snapchat yesterday. I'm like, no. And so, but I need to explain why I don't want him on Snapchat. There are some inappropriate things that I don't think you should be seeing. I think we need to talk and not be so, what stays in our house is in our house.
Absolutely.
Don't go out there telling nobody our business. Like, you keep that to yourself for a little bit, but you don't know who you could be helping. Like, on our podcast, I'm very open about my marriage. Like, I let people know, like, how we got to where we are. It wasn't easy. But I feel if I let people know that and I get it out and I talk about it, I could be helping somebody.
Right.
Definitely.
Facts.
You definitely got to talk about it.
Facts.
All right. So the next topic that we have is, pertaining to kids. And we have all dealt with kids. So basically, how do you teach your children gender specific traits in this society? And, we are Christians, so we do believe, that a man should be one way and a girl should be another way. There are certain things that people go through in life that make them, go a different way. And that's a whole nother topic. But as far as raising your children, how do you say, no, son, I walked into a Mac store with my son and there's a man full blown makeup on it. And I'm just like, don't look at it, Bryson, like, walk with me, and like trying not to make a big deal out of it. But what are some of y'all's tactics, or have y'all talked to y'all's children about it? Have they shown anything?
No, let me ask you this. Do you think you doing that was not making a bigger deal about it?
So what I did was I noticed it and I kind of redirect him immediately. I know he saw it and he didn't ask me a question about it, but I was just like, ooh, like, it's in your face now, right?
Right.
And so at school, the kids are a lot more flamboyant now. We may even have family members who are trans, and you see somebody who looks like your father, but he's wearing a dress like me. So it's confusing, and they're kind of looking, and they're kind of just staring a little bit, but they don't know. Yeah. And so it's like, do you talk to, of course you talk to them about it, but what is y'all's approach to that?
See, I have a son and a daughter. So I have a 1-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. So my son, he's always been like a boy's boy, like sports and all that kind of stuff. But now there's girl, pink things in our house. So of course, him being 3, he understands, okay, pink is for girls and blue is for boys. So if he sees something pink, he'll know, Daddy, that's for girls. And like, I try not to make a big deal out of it and be like, that's for your sister, because I talked to Jones about this. I feel like when you push kids away from something really, really hard,
they gravitate
towards what you're pushing them against. So I know I'm not going to make a big deal of that kind of stuff, but he understands, like, this is for boys, this is for girls. So I think, and your household plays a big part of it also. So if they don't see that kind of stuff in your household, I think that helps them as well. So, but as far as like pushing them, I honestly just, he gets it, but I don't make it overtly like, nah, you can't do that. That's for girls. This. I try not to do that with him, just because he understands the gender, and he's only 3, so he doesn't really have an idea of anything else that's going on anyway.
I got 2 girls, so I don't know. Like, I honestly, I don't know how I would treat it if I did have a boy, but I look at my little girls and I'm like, would I tell them that they can't play a certain sport, and I don't know. Like, until it's really in my face, like, I think just for now, it's like, I tell my daughters, we talked about affirmations like every night. I tell them they can do whatever they want to do in this world. Like you can be whatever you want to be, but how do you draw that line? Like where's the cutoff of like where it makes you feel some type of way? I guess because everything is so in your face, and it's like it's hard to keep that emotion of, ooh, that was, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, that hit a little too close to home. You know, even think about this. Like, I see my daughters dancing sometimes, and we don't allow them to watch nothing but like little kid stuff. But it can be my daughter, she's shaking her behind, and it's like, hold on, sister, what? But when I think about it, it's all innocence. She's just having innocent. It's not because she's staying up late watching BET Uncut. You know what I'm saying? It's just she's just having fun and dancing. You know, next day it might be her shaking her head or what. She's still like she's 2, but I think we've gone through so much stuff within our generations to where when we see it in our kids, even some of the behaviors, you know, that we may have done. And it's like you see a glimpse of it in your kid, and it's like, hold on, what you doing? Slow down. You got it. Can't do that. They 2, innocent, they 3, you know what I'm saying? But it's how we, and a lot of stuff, like you said, you go back to like biblical principles and stuff, and it's right now it's just so hard because there's so much stuff. You watch the news and you go anywhere, you go to the grocery store, you have your kids asking you questions that you never had to ask when you was a kid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about the times you saw certain things when you were a little kid that made you like, hold on, is that? But now everything is so in your face. Everything is so just direct that you have to be able to speak on these things as parents. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had to deal with it yet, but I can only imagine that that's kind of a tough conversation to have, and that I wouldn't be the one like. So you know,
like I said, I don't want to be too direct in what I do because, like I said, you do something, you tell them enough not to do something, I feel like they're gonna go out there and try and search and seek it.
Why can't I?
Yeah. So I'm more of a like, hey, son, let's play basketball. You know, trying to do like sports. You know, stuff that he sees men doing. Hey, son, come watch me put this together. So it's not necessarily making sure it's gender roles. It's just you see what daddy's doing. Hopefully you want to be like daddy, right?
But at the same time, to me, it's okay. Like if I had a son, like I got 2 daughters. If I end up having a son and they all playing and he playing with the doll and they playing with they playing house, like I can't see myself like, hey man, put that girl doll away. Like but that's me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Different. I think I would. I personally think I would tell them, you know, I wouldn't be too direct.
Grab the Black Panther.
Yeah. Come, you want to play? Come get this one. You know, give him Spider-Man.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And you can redirect.
Yeah.
But I'm talking as far as the approach. Like, you got to be real careful. You have to be very careful with that because at the same time, in their mind, you got to think about in their little bitty minds, they just playing.
Fun, yeah.
They just playing.
So okay.
It ain't about the guy or the girl, dog. Like they just playing now. Yeah.
Okay, so all y'all, who has the oldest child here? How old is she?
7.
7. Okay, my baby's 8. I'm just playing. So he was playing a game, and he had, you know how they do their little avatars and things, and so it came up girl, boy, and he said, "Mommy, what's a rainbow? What's the rainbow?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "The LGBTQ." He went down the line. I said, okay, so
this is on a game?
It was on a game. And that's what I'm saying. It's going younger, like even with the D-Wade thing, it's getting younger and it's getting into our schools. So yes, while they're little, you can probably have a better handle on it, but they're going to eventually go away from mom and dad, and they're going to eventually cleave to their friends. And so their friendships that they're around, these environments that they're around, the social medias, when you see the, the popular person, he is a flamboyant person, that type of battle. Like I said, I do agree with you. You definitely have to really put it in home and make sure that he is grounded and growing up in a certain way. So when he is introduced to it or he sees it, it's not such a
intrigue to it,
intriguement or anything like that. Like even I grew up playing basketball, and a lot of girls, they was just trying new stuff, right? So they was just, I'm gay today, I'm bi today, and da 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 da, and they would always say, Christina, you're gonna be gay, right? And I was like, no, I'm not. But it was it was just like at the time there were some who really might have been,
right.
But most of them were just influenced by what they were around, and they were at that age. And so, my husband does a great job talking to him. He's like, well, which one did you pick? He's like, boy, he said, you're a boy, right? And he's like, yeah. And so, and we just, it made it real innocent. It's like, okay, keep going, but you can't shield them from that.
Right. You gotta talk about it. Like, but you have to, I feel like I'm going to talk about it to a way where he understands, like, this is what you are. You're a boy. There's certain people that are this way, but you're this way. And like I said, I don't want to be that guy that's going to tell you this, and this, because I've seen what that can do to girls, first of all, like, especially when it comes to like sex and stuff, and you tell them don't do this, what the first thing gonna do? As soon as they get out of your house, they're gonna do exactly what you told them. So you just gotta figure it out. Like I said, it's like parenting is like, it's like,
better pray.
Man, pray.
Better pray.
It's like building the plane, flying the plane, learning how to pick up people, passengers, all at the same time. So it's when I get to that point, I'm gonna have to figure it out.
Yes.
So I hear like everybody, like we're starting off, right, getting the kids in the home. What if you do everything right? You did everything. You've prayed. You've redirected. And they're 12 and he's telling you he wants a sex change.
That's when you give them to God.
Because it's a thing, right? Kids now, like they're no longer adults getting sex changes. Some parents are letting 8, 9, 10-year-old
tell
kids
them what they want to be.
Tell them what they want to be, right? So it's just like, what do you do?
Fellas?
Hey,
it's for women too. You may think you're sending her to a sleepover and she's going there every single weekend, and they come back, and that's how one of my friends got found out. She was sleeping over her friend's house. The mother found all the little sexual letters that they were full blown just going in at it. And so it's like,
I ain't gonna lie. I honestly, I have no idea. Like, I can't even fathom being in those shoes just yet. Cause I feel like I'm a fresh parent. Yeah. But these are things that, and I know it's coming. Like, I know these situations are coming because of the society, the world we live in now. Like we said, it's just so in your face. So when those do hit the table,
I'll tell you.
I hope I'm ahead of.
This is when I felt the cultural shift. I graduated high school in 2002. In 2002, when them incoming freshmen came in, I knew our world was different. Like, that is, I noticed like it was yesterday when those freshmen came in. I guess they were class of 2006. Those freshmen that year made me realize like the world is changing. They were a little more loose, open, and that's when we started seeing like the, bisexual, gay, all this stuff, and that was new to me. So I think as the world starts, 2024, 2028, all them it's we're getting a little too loose, like you said. Like, I think we're letting kids think like adults when they should be thinking like kids, and giving them way too much leeway on a lot of things.
And that's what I'm saying.
And you got to reel them in. And I think parents are trying to be too friendly.
Friends with their kids.
Yeah.
We talked about that before.
You can't be that friendly. Like, I'm sorry, you got to draw the line somewhere.
You got to draw a line. You still got to be a parent.
Yeah, I'm your friend, but to a certain point, I'm your daddy. Like, so you just have to, you got to be able to put your foot down on certain things. And like you said, like girls is doing what they was doing, but parents got to be a little more involved in what's actually going on. Like I told my wife, I'm not dropping sleepovers. What's that? If they want to sleep over, they come sleep over at the crib. But no, because you gotta worry about the kids and you gotta worry about their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
and if the parents ain't on the same page, we not
they're
all
not
on the
parenting
same page.
way. Nah,
That's why you gotta have it. A lot of stuff is communication. We talk about we talk about on the pod a lot, but at the end of the day, like communication is so huge, whether it be in relationships, friendships. Communication can save a lot of things because you think about a sleepover. If the parents ain't on the same wavelength,
you're not sleeping.
then it's like, y'all come over here. Y'all know how we roll.
Yeah.
But like we used to have sleepovers when I was, in junior high school, and that was nothing. Like
It's different now.
yeah, it was different. Like it was a real sleepover. Like you stayed up until you literally just fell asleep. Playing video games.
Not games like
We playing video games, but now it's like you really have to know to send your kids anywhere. You really have to have some level of comfort, at least a little bit, because you trusting this person to handle your kids,
right?
And now I have like a whole different outlook on that. Like I got so many cameras in my house. And we have a nanny, you know what I'm saying? My wife is still at the crib right now while a nanny is there, but it's like I trust you, but then at the same time, it's like I trust these a whole lot better than I trust, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing everything. So it's just one of them things. Like I think as the times go, we just have to, you better stay prayed up because they only getting worse.
Yeah.
Time's only really getting worse. What you think, John?
He been
Shut
quiet
us
this whole time.
Yeah.
He ain't said nothing.
Because it's time to wrap it up.
I'll say this.
Might have to do a part 2.
I'll say this, and I told Bola this. I have family members that are what's the word I would use?
Tread lightly.
Very they feel very strongly. And we had a situation where a family member of mine was playing with some toys that were in the room, and they were girl toys, and the child got reprimanded for it, and it kind of shook the household. And I was like, yo, it ain't really that deep, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't want the child to play with girl toys, but that's something you have to talk about versus spanking or threatening, things like that. And I think that messes with a child's psyche. As far as for me, I think I'm in a blessed situation right now because my child's 7, but she's a girly girl. She loves dolls, she loves dresses, she loves playing with those type of things. And then my mom likes to play with her and be like, hey, Kennedy, you got a boyfriend? And she's like, no. Like, she's scared to say it around me, which I'm not tripping about. It's just, playful stuff. But she hasn't come to the point where she's had to ask me about situations like what you were shielding Bryson away from. Like, I just haven't had that chance to even talk about that. But I know my time's coming. And honestly, like you guys are all saying, honesty is the best key. Explain to your child what's going on. Break it down to them where they can understand. Because, like, our children are smart. They whether they're going to get it from you, they're going to get it from somewhere. And I'd rather them get it from me and have a understanding between the both of us of what's going on, and then go from there. And to go back to answer your question, at the end of the day, you could do everything you want and try to make things right. But if it comes to that, then I gotta be supportive. Now, as far as paying for a sex change at that age, no. That's nah. If you feel that way at 18, 20, then you on your own. I support you with
out the crib.
but you doing it on your own. Like that's my take on it. But regardless, I'm supporting my child, and that's what it is. So that's my take.
Well, we thank you guys once again for allowing us to sit with you guys and chat.
Now, thank y'all for
Thank
joining
y'all.
us.
No
Thank y'all for
problem.
having
We
us.
appreciate it.
Gotta do this again soon. I like it. I
Yeah,
like it. More
yeah.
topics. More
Do
topics.
y'all do final thoughts or what do y'all?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
And so, what are y'all's final thoughts?
I'll go first. I think, at the end of the day that people need to reach out and talk to one another. I think we have to get out of that stereotype of Black people not wanting to support each other. Men don't even smile at each other crossing the street or anything like that. So I think we definitely need to talk more, keep God first, and like you said, just stay prayed up.
Yeah, same here. Staying prayed up, keeping God first. Just being open. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know how to do something or I need help, and just being vulnerable, Like we've all said at some point in this, it's just like being vulnerable and reaching out could be the very thing that somebody else needs, and you can find somebody to connect with. So it's all right to say you don't have it all together, because nobody does, right?
Yeah.
Facts.
Thank y'all for having us. Love your kids. Love your wife. Love your husbands. Love your life.
Okay. Rick.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. This was great. I hope that we can do something like this again in the future, because it's always good to hear a woman's perspective on some of these topics. So thank y'all. We appreciate it. We appreciate shout out to Texadelphia again for having us. And Jones, take us home.
Yeah. Again, like the fella said, I really appreciate this. This is a dope space for men and women to speak on topics that are in our community that need to be spoken on. Like Bola said, just love your family, love your kids, love your wife, your husband. And just to take what we talked about today and just wrap it up, saying that, communication is key for all aspects of relationships and what we talk about. And we need to learn from our past, is what our parents did, and apply it to our present and our future, so we're going to make the same mistakes over with.
Right.
So I'm going to leave it at that. Normally we toast out to a great episode.
It's empty. Cheers, 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 cheers.
Thank y'all, ladies.
Thank you.